the nation have spoken. They have delivered us a clear victory, a convincing victory, a victory for we the people. We have won with the most votes ever
Wait, what are you reading?
Oh, just the election victory speech of President-elect Joe Biden.
Pick up the pace, bang on the bass. Mama, get down with the chicken on your face.
What did you think about this election?
What did I think about it?
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Good?
Yeah.
Because Biden won.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely won.
Definitely won.
Without cheating.
The election was big news in Japan as well.
Yeah, all around the world, I think. So I voted by mail on election night. I remember I had a really bad stomach ache. And I couldn't sleep. And like Trump had more electoral college votes at the time, and it looked very bad.
Yeah, you were very nervous.
Yeah, so that was like the night of the 3rd. Just as the week went on, it was looking better and better. And then finally, I think it was Sunday morning here, I woke up and saw the news and I told you.
Yeah, in the morning you told me.
Yeah, they called the election.
So you vote by a mail.
Yeah.
It was easy to vote.
There's a lot of rules. Like when to send your ballot and how to properly mail it.
People who live in America and you live in other country, same way
To vote by mail.
to vote by mail. Yeah.
I think it's different. The one I used was for people who are abroad, but you can vote by mail from America too. It's called an absentee ballot. And this election had a lot of absentee ballots because people are staying in because of coronavirus.
Yeah.
That's why it took so long to count the votes.
So what do you think about Joe Biden?
Oh, I think so. We have
He's 78 years old.
78, 77.
77, 78? Yeah.
Yeah, he's the oldest president in history.
So what do you think about him?
Not a lot. I don't think a lot about him. I don't really know a lot about him.
What is his image?
His image to me is President Obama's vice president.
Yeah. He was vice president when Obama was a president.
Yeah.
Your image was good?
Like so normal. Like I don't know that much about politics actually. So
Me neither.
I know that he hasn't been caught in a lot of controversies. He's never been accused of hiring prostitutes and any big scandals like that. Yeah, very normal guy, I think.
Normal guy?
Normal guy, like, compared to what we've had for the past 4 years.
Yeah. But actually you liked other candidate?
Yeah.
Who was that?
So before we vote for the president, we vote in the primary election for the candidate for each party. So I voted for the Democratic Party in the primaries for Bernie Sanders.
I know him.
He's a Democratic Socialist, and I am a Democratic Socialist. So, and it seemed like he had a chance, but I think with the pandemic started right around that time, I think people wanted something more secure, so people voted for Joe Biden.
So, what do you think about Kamala Harris?
Oh,
She's the first woman vice president.
yeah. She holds the highest office that a woman has ever had in American politics, which is really good. And I think she was a good choice to secure the votes. 4 years ago, we had Hillary Clinton on the ticket for the Democratic Party. It sounds bad, but maybe that's why Trump won, because she was a woman for president. But this time there was a man for president, but there was still a woman on the ticket as the vice president. So I think it was a good match to defeat Trump.
Do you know about her, Harris?
Not really. I know she was senator in California. She's from California, I think. Yeah. I know she is involved in the LGBT community. Seems good.
And her parents are from,
I think it's India and Jamaica.
so not white.
Yeah, she's not a woman and she's not a man and she's not white.
Yeah, so amazing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's in her 50s, I think.
Why do you think Trump lost?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I think you asked me before what I think about Joe Biden. And I think like most people don't really like him, but they wanted to defeat Trump. So nobody voted for Joe Biden, but they voted against Trump.
Many people didn't want Trump to win, so they voted to Joe Biden.
They voted for Joe
They voted for Joe Biden.
Joy. That's our plant's name.
They voted for Joe Biden.
Yes, and I think some of the factors involved are the pandemic is getting worse and worse in America, and Donald Trump doesn't take it seriously.
Yeah, he didn't want to wear the mask.
Doesn't want to wear a mask. He got the disease, and
Yeah.
everybody around him is getting it. And he said he definitely does not want to do a lockdown because he wants to protect businesses.
Yeah.
American people are probably just tired of having such a I don't know what word to use to describe him.
Okay.
Such an asshole as a president.
Okay. But it's so interesting election.
It's such uninteresting.
It's such an interesting election.
So is used for adjectives only. But you're talking about election. So such an interesting election.
It was such an interesting election.
Or the election was so interesting.
The election was so interesting.
But the first one is better.
It was such an interesting election. American election and Japanese election are so different.
Oh wait, well yeah.
Yeah.
We have a weird system.
I don't know, we have a weird system, but but Trump and Biden looks like they are fighting, like
Battle Royale.
Yeah. It had kind of entertainment.
Yeah. Did you watch the debates?
A little bit, kind of stupid debate.
Yeah, but it's not entertaining for Americans. It's quite embarrassing and just.
Trump didn't want to hear when Biden was speaking.
Right. They're just interrupting each other.
Each other.
Yeah. But I guess you could say it's interesting.
Yeah, interesting. I read the New York Times article. There are some interesting statistics, so I want to share some. How did men vote compared to women?
So it says here that 48 of all voters were men, and of those 48% of voters, 53 voted for Trump. So a majority of men voted for Trump, and 45 for Biden. And then 52% of voters were female. So the majority of voters in this election were female. And 57% voted for Joe Biden. So quite a big majority of women voted for Joe Biden, which is makes sense, right?
And how did white people vote?
For Donald Trump, 58% of white voters voted for Trump. Yeah. And 67% of all voters were white. This is not, I think, accurate.
Accurate?
It's not correct.
Of course, because it didn't ask everyone.
And black people are the most interesting. I think.
Yeah.
That's 87% of black people voted for Joe Biden.
And Hispanic and Asian, others?
Hispanics, 65% of Hispanics voted for Trump, which still, it's the majority, but it's kind of surprising that 32%
Mm.
voted for Trump because he is so anti-immigration, but it also does make sense because many Hispanics come from countries that have bad experiences with socialism, and for some reason people are viewing Joe Biden as a socialist. And Asians, 60% of Asians voted for for Joe Biden. 61% of Asians voted for Joe Biden and 34% for Donald Trump.
So how about young people?
Oh,
It's interesting.
young voters, which are voters from 18 to 29, 60% voted for Joe Biden. So 36% for Donald Trump. 30 to 44 is also a majority for Joe Biden. But then after 45, the majority starts to go to Donald Trump. So yeah, definitely the older people get, the more conservative and Republican they are.
And how about LGBT?
So 7% of voters interviewed were LGBT, and 64% of them voted for Joe Biden, 27% for Donald Trump.
Why? I don't know. There are a lot of statistics, so I wanna put the link below, so you can check that.
Were you surprised by something on this?
Well, not surprised, like, yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Most of it kind of makes sense.
yeah, makes sense. It makes sense. According to these statistics, new generation is coming. Like, so recently you had Black Lives Matter movement. In America, a lot of things is changing now.
Things are changing.
Things are changing. I think it's good.
Yeah, and this is one more step in the right direction, I think.
Yeah,
This election.
yeah. So many people accept. なんかなんかだんだん little by little
People are becoming more open
people are becoming more open
to diversity.
to diversity. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can feel from this election.
Yeah, because the past 4 years we've been so
Yeah,
closed off.
yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah.
world.
Comparing to America and Japan, I think Japan is really still
Conservative.
conservative. I hope we start changing women rights or LGBT or a lot of things.
Yeah, I think women's rights and LGBT issues were a big part of the past few American elections. Yeah, I don't think it's such a hot topic in Japan.
Although I think we don't know so much about discrimination. Discrimination. 差別. Yeah. In Japan, almost all people are Japanese. So usually we don't experience discrimination situation. So
Racial discrimination.
racial discrimination. Yeah, but I was kind of surprised. So when I went to Atlanta, his hometown, I feel like sometimes I
Was discriminated
was discriminated
against.
So I've been New York twice. New York is kind of there are a lot of
Very diverse.
very diverse. But when I went to Atlanta, I think many people like Trump or many people are really conservative. Yeah, so
That's Georgia though.
Georgia.
Yeah. But
I started talk about Georgia, your
Yeah.
hometown. So you want to talk about Georgia state?
I don't have the facts, but Georgia has voted Republican for the past number of elections, presidential elections. So I think today in the news it said after the votes were fully counted, yeah, Georgia voted for Joe Biden.
Oh, really?
Yes. So it flipped to blue. Blue is for Democrat and red is for Republican. And this is the first time in a number of years that Georgia turned blue. And when you look at the map, it's surrounded by red because this is like the Bible Belt area of America. I mean, that's because of Atlanta and yeah, mainly Atlanta because there are a few cities in Georgia. Most of Georgia is countryside. Georgia's quite a big state.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a lot of rural areas, which are conservative.
Yeah, I was surprised. I didn't expect this happened.
Nobody did.
Yeah.
So, and then there's a part of the government called the Senate. And the Senate now, it's controlled by Republicans, which would make it difficult for Joe Biden to make many changes because they can veto his laws. But the Senate race in Georgia was too close. Nobody won this time. So there's one more election.
Nobody won.
Yeah, you have to get 50% of the votes. And then, so in January, it's possible that Georgia's senators become Democrats. If Georgia's senators become Democrats, then Democrats will have the majority in the Senate.
You're really excited. Yeah.
It's possible. But it's gonna be a dirty, dirty campaign, I think.
Really?
Yeah, because it's everybody knows it's so important. So there's so much money going to in this election. So much. And like I saw some people on my Facebook saying, does anybody want to move to Atlanta? Because if they move to Atlanta, maybe they can vote. So trying to get more Democrats.
Oh, I see.
I don't know if that's possible. Stacking the vote.
So recently I watched The Politician on Netflix.
Oh yeah?
So it's interesting drama about politics. So I recommend to watch that. Right?
Yeah. It's about like the whole narcissism of politics, I think. Narcissism,
What the?
when you love yourself. The main character in The Politician is a narcissist.
Yeah, and I think I could learn about American politics. Yeah,
Another good show is Veep, I recommend. Veep.
Beep on
Yeah.
Netflix.
No, I don't think it's on Netflix, but yeah. It started just before Trump became president, and it's a comedy, but now it's like not funny because it's so real now. Like it's satire, but like it became kind of reality with Trump's presidency. But it's good for politics.
This time, a lot of famous people said tweeted, like Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande.
Did you see Lady Gaga's video telling people to vote?
Oh, really?
Yes. You haven't seen it? She posted it like the day before election day or something, and it was her wearing all of her famous outfits. Like it's like a 10-minute video,
I didn't see it.
and she's giving a speech about voting, but it's like a highly produced video from all her costumes and like telling people to vote.
I'm gonna watch that. But it's so in Japan, nobody do that.
Nobody does that.
Nobody does that. I knew it. American
Celebrities.
celebrities do that. But we usually don't talk about politics. So kind of I think taboo still now. I think it's weird culture because
Weird in Japan. Weird culture in Japan.
yeah. It's true. We don't talk about politics.
Yeah.
So I think if I start talk about politics, definitely my friends or my coworker, I think Ryosuke is fine.
Really?
Yeah. I used to live in London, so before London, I was not interested in politics so much. But when I was in London at the English school, we have to debate politics. I couldn't join. How can I say this?
You couldn't participate.
I couldn't participate, and there was I think 3 Japanese students. We couldn't participate. So, but I think teacher asked us why you can't talk about that because we usually don't talk about that. teacher said, what? Like, politics is kind of taboo. Oh, what? Like, other students, I think, were surprised about
Yeah.
that. That time, I was ashamed.
You're ashamed.
Yeah, I ashamed. So, and I realized it's kind of embarrassing people who cannot talk about politics.
It's embarrassing
It's embarrassing
to not be able to.
not be able to talk about politics. After that happened, I started to learn about politics. I don't always talk about politics, but we sometimes talk about that. And because so politics is important, alright. If there is bad things we have to change, we have to vote, right?
Right.
We have to get human rights.
Yes. I think like the reason that celebrities don't talk about politics in Japan is because there's no very progressive candidates. Like there's nobody to really support.
Or I think they can't talk about that because politician and government and entertainment agency are connecting. I think that is
really?
problem. Yeah, I think so. Some people, but not really famous, sometimes talk about
Yeah.
politics. But really famous people don't talk about that.
Okay, so yeah, maybe there's some connection there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's my opinion though. Yeah. So one day I want to talk about politics in Japanese because I didn't talk I can't express myself exactly. So one
You did
day.
good though.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So, if you have a question about American election, comment below. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel.
Bye.
Bye.